Jumped out a plane, tried falling more in love with you. We missed the train each morning, and then we don't know what to do. I can't live with or without you. We could be dying if our hearts beat too slow. 100 reasons I can think to be with you. So if we're drowning, let our love keep us afloat.
If we're gonna leave this ship, we're gonna have to sink or swim. Take my hand and dive in. I'll never let you go again. If we're gonna leave this ship, we're gonna have to sink or swim. Take my hand and dive in. I'll never let you go again.
It seemed to rain for days, I guess our hearts were pouring. We didn't keep the scores, this game we played, it ain't rewarding. It's like we changed our names and that's the reason we ignoring. We highly flammable, I guess we didn't read the warnings. So use with caution, cause girl we awesome. We gotta cherish this, it doesn't come along that often. Just stay for summer, guarantee you'll still be here in autumn. The love I got for you will never ever go to auction. I can't live with or without you. We could be dying if our hearts beat too slow. 100 reasons I can think to be with you. So if we're drowning, let our love keep us afloat.
If we're gonna leave this ship, we're gonna have to sink or swim. Take my hand and dive in. I'll never let you go again. If we're gonna leave this ship, we're gonna have to sink or swim. Take my hand and dive in. I'll never let you go again. I'll never let you, never let you, never let you. I'll never let you, never let you. We're gonna have to sink or swim. I'll never let you, never let you, never let you. I'll never let you, never let you. We're gonna have to sink or swim. Don't let me go, don't let me go, let me go under.
Don't let me go, don't let me go, don't let me go.
I'll never let you, never let you go.
If we're gonna leave this ship, we're gonna have to sink or swim. Take my hand and dive in. I'll never let you go again.
I'll never let you, never let you, never let you. I'll never let you, never. We're gonna have to sink or swim. I'll never let you, never let you, never let you. I'll never let you, never. We're gonna have to sink or swim.
Hey, what's up everyone? Hope you're having a good evening tonight. Alright, so let's take a look at the total crypto market cap and get the night started off. For the weekly chart, the bears continue to gain momentum on the MACD. Stochastic is still crossed bearish. We are currently in the bearish control zone on the RSI, and we're bearishly engulfing on the weekly candles. Be about 5 weeks straight bearish engulfing. Hey, what's up Norm? Hope you're having a good night tonight. Anything you want me to check out after I'm done checking out the usuals? And okay, for the daily, bears losing momentum on the MACD for the daily. Stochastic very slightly cross bearish, but coiled up pretty heavily. Pretty heavy consolidation going on here over about the past week. On the 4-hour, bears are attempting to gain some momentum again for the first time since the 1st of May. Bearish cross on the stochastic, bearish control zone on the RSI. And we are in a small downtrend currently. On the hourly, bears losing momentum on the MACD, stochastic coiled up pretty heavily, still in the bearish control zone for the RSI. and it looks like we are attempting to form resistance at previous support. So total crypto market cap isn't really looking the best currently today. As long as we don't form lower lows on the larger time frames, it's still looking alright, but I really want to see these lows hold. So it'd be about $1.52 trillion roughly for this low that we had right here. And as long as we hold that, it's still not looking horrible yet for the total crypto market cap. Alright, so for Bitcoin, bears gaining momentum on the MACD for the weekly, bearish cross in the stochastic, bearish control zone for the RSI, and about 6 weeks of red here. We attempted to break up above the fib level, which was the 382, got denied here, and then we've just been in a little downtrend here ever since. Bears losing some slight momentum on the daily MACD. Stochastic is still slightly crossed bearish though. Bearish control zone on the RSI. Little bit of bullish divergence on the daily. Not really looking the best though. We broke below the fib level. Attempted to get back above it. Got denied. Came back down. And looks like we may attempt to go for some lower lows. Same thing with total crypto market cap, as long as we don't form lower lows on the larger time frames, which for Bitcoin that would be around about 33,500 roughly. If we form a low above that on the monthly, it'll still be looking alright, but I really want to see these lows hold. On the 4-hour, bears gaining momentum on the MACD again with a bearish cross on the stochastic, bearish control zone on the RSI, and looking like we are attempting to form resistance at previous support levels. So, definitely could see some further pullback on both Bitcoin and the total crypto market cap. Bears losing momentum on the MACD for the 1 hour, stochastic is neutral, coiled up pretty heavily. We were just very slightly oversold on the RSI on the 1 hour. We are still in the bearish control zone though, and now we're just consolidating while the market decides what it wants to do on the 1 hour. Alright, Ethereum on the weekly. Bears gaining momentum on the MACD, bearish cross on the stochastic. Very slightly in the bearish control zone on the RSI, and 5 weeks straight of just bearish price action going on here on the candles. Bears losing momentum on the MACD for the daily. Stochastic's coiled up pretty heavily at that 20 zone. Bearish control zone on the RSI, and we are in a pretty clear little downtrend here currently. Bears gaining momentum on the MACD for the 4 hour with a bearish cross on the stochastic. Bearish control zone on the RSI. Yeah, the candles don't look much better on the 4 hour either. Just consistent lower highs and lower lows all the way down here. Bears losing momentum on the MACD for the 1 hour. Stochastic's coiled up pretty heavily. Still in the bearish control zone on the RSI for the 1 hour. And it does look like we're attempting to form resistance at previous support levels. So most cryptos right now are looking pretty sketchy. Wouldn't be surprised if we do see some more downside. But as long as the larger time frames don't give out, still looking alright for a potential final run up for this market cycle. Alright, so for XRP, the bears are gaining momentum on the MACD, bearish cross on the stochastic for the weekly, bearish control zone on the RSI. I really don't like how we are attempting to break bearish out of this pennant that XRP was in here. Bears losing momentum on the MACD for the daily. Stochastics coiled up pretty heavily. We were just oversold on the RSI for the daily, and now we're just consolidating in the bearish control zone. And here we broke out of the pennant, came down a little further, and now we're just consolidating. We'll either likely see it come up and just retouch the pennant here and then confirm a breakout to the downside, or we could potentially get back into the pennant, and if we get back into the pennant and form support at the bottom here, it'll be looking alright at that point. But for now, XRP is looking quite sketchy. Alright, so for the 4 hour, bulls losing momentum on the MACD with a bearish cross on the stochastic. Neutral on the RSI. Bullish divergence on the 4 hour, which is nice to see at least. Maybe that'll be enough to get it back up into the pennant. And for the 1 hour, bears losing momentum on the MACD with a bullish cross on the stochastic, neutral on the RSI, and just some heavy consolidation on the hourly candles while the market decides what's going to happen next for this asset. Well, it's nice to see at least a tiny bit of green on VVS today. Bears losing some very slight momentum on the daily MACD with a slight bullish cross on the stochastic. Oversold on the RSI. Does look like we have a bit of a bear flag going on the candles though. Bulls are gaining momentum on the MACD for the 4 hour with some 4 hour bullish divergence. Bullish cross on the stochastic, and now just consolidating while it decides whether or not the bullish divergence is going to play out into a little pump. 1 hour, bulls gaining momentum on the MACD, neutral on the RSI, bullish cross on the stochastic, and some pretty heavy consolidation on the hourly candles. So VVS is looking not the best. Very nice accumulation zone though if we do ever see some new all-time highs or previous all-time highs on this asset, especially with the fact of the utility of this coin for farming others on Chronos chain. And a lot of this pullback was because of the news with the Crypto.com cards, since VVS is part of Chronos chain, which was created by Crypto.com and VVS Finance. Crypto.com came out with some news that they were going to be reducing the reward fees for their Crypto.com visas, so that caused quite a pullback in the price of CRO, which in turn also looks like affected VVS and gave it a pretty heavy pullback as well. So I'm going to wait to see if the bullish divergence will play out and if this is going to get a bounce back here and begin to rally, or potentially we could see some further downside on this asset. The bottom of the FID extension is 0.000000463. So it's probably about 4x roughly from where we are currently if it were to pull back, so 75% pullback would be pretty heavy. I'm just going to need to wait to see what happens with the bullish divergence on the 4 hour and see if we either start to pull back and reverse from here or if we're going to be in for some more downside. Alright, so polar on the daily, bears losing momentum on the MACD, stochastic coiled up pretty heavily. Bearish control zone on the RSI. Polar's kind of looking sketchy too. We're getting towards the bottom of the support zone here, so I'd really like to see this hold for this asset. 4 hour, bulls attempting to gain some momentum again on the MACD, stochastics attempting to cross bullish. The RSI actually pulled back up into the neutral zone, which is very nice to be seeing currently. And now we just got some pretty heavy consolidation going on the 4 hour candles. Bulls gaining momentum on the MACD for the 1 hour with a bullish cross on the stochastic, neutral on the RSI, and just heavy consolidation on the hourly. So ideally I would like to see the support level hold like I was saying, and if it does hold this region it will be looking alright. But we are pretty close to the bottom of the support for this asset currently, so if we see it break about $1.35, could be in for some pretty dirty downside at that point. I'm not quite sure what happened with the sphere chart that I was looking at. Yeah, for some reason it's only 5 days old. On the daily, just based off of the minimal information that I have, it looks alright. It is attempting to bullishly engulf currently. Bullish cross on the stochastic. RSI is still in the bearish control zone, but looks like it's attempting to get back up to neutral. A V-shaped recovery would be very nice to see on this asset. Bulls gaining a little bit of momentum on the MACD for the 1 hour. Stochastic is coiled up pretty heavily above the 80 though, with the RSI being overbought currently. Bulls attempting to gain a bit of momentum on the 15 minute. Stochastic coiled up heavily, overbought on the RSI, and bullishly engulfing on the candles. And we're just at the bottom of this big wick here that we've seen on the first day of this chart. So if we do begin to get a little bit of a pump here, could be quite a nice bit of upside from where we are currently. Yeah, it's not really enough information to go by though, just based off of this chart. It's less than a week old, so. Alright, so let's take a look at Dogecoin and see how that's looking tonight. Bulls losing momentum on the MACD for the weekly, stochastics coiling up heavily, bearish control zone on the RSI, and the price action on the candles isn't really the best looking. We got high, lower high, lower high, lower high, lower high, and just consistent lower low, lower low, lower low, and looks like we may attempt to form an even lower low than where we are now. For the daily, bears losing slight momentum on the MACD, stochastics coiled up pretty heavily below the 20 zone, bearish control zone on the RSI, and now we're just consolidating pretty heavily. Bulls gaining a tiny bit of momentum on the MACD for the 4 hour with a bullish cross on the stochastic, still slightly in the bearish control zone on the RSI, but it does look like it's attempting to get into the neutral zone. And heavy consolidation on the candles here. And 1 hour, bulls attempting to gain some very slight momentum with a bullish cross on the stochastic, neutral on the RSI. And yeah, it's just really heavy consolidation right now while this asset decides what to do next. Looking more bearish than bullish currently. And let's see how Shiba Inu's looking compared to Dogecoin. Bears attempting to gain momentum on the MACD for the weekly with a bearish cross on the stochastic, bearish control zone on the RSI, and bearish engulfing below the fib level. Bears losing slight momentum on the MACD for the daily, but the stochastic is cross bearish, bearish control zone on the RSI. And looking like it's attempting to form resistance at previous support, so could definitely be some more downside on Shiba Inu as well. Bulls gaining slight momentum on the MACD for the 4 hour, stochastic is coiling up at the 20 zone. Still in the bearish control zone on the RSI and some pretty heavy consolidation on the 4 hour. So both Doge and SHIB are looking a bit more bearish than bullish currently. So until we see the total crypto market cap and Bitcoin come back around, it's definitely possible we see these assets pull back further. And let's see how Hex is looking today. Hex is one of the nicer looking charts currently. Bulls gaining momentum on the MACD for the first time since October of 2021, so that's very significant. bullish cross on the stochastic, neutral on the RSI, and bullish engulfing on the weekly candle. Nice bit of bullish momentum here on this daily candle. It is cooling off slightly though. Bullish cross on the stochastic. We were just slightly overbought on the RSI, now we're just in the bullish control zone, and we're attempting to bullishly engulf on this daily candle. Bears losing momentum on the MACD for the 4 hour. Stochastic is cross bullish but coiling up quite a bit. Bullish control zone on the RSI. And looking like it, I guess that wouldn't be quite a cup and handle. I believe that this would need to be up higher for that, but almost looks like it's attempting to form a Class B cup and handle. Class B meaning imperfect. It's the pattern, but not as nice as I'd like to see it. 1 hour, bulls attempting to gain momentum with a bullish cross on the stochastic, bullish control zone on the RSI, and making a little attempt at bullish engulfing. The 1 hour does look quite choppy though on this asset. Potential low liquidity or something. Alright, so let's see how gold and silver is looking today. Bears gaining momentum on the MACD for the first week since October of 2021. Bearish cross on the stochastic, neutral on the RSI, and bearish engulfing for 3 weeks straight. Bears losing a bit of momentum on the MACD for the daily, bearish cross on the stochastic, bearish control zone on the RSI, and looks like we have a little bit of a bear flag going on here currently on the daily. Bears losing some momentum on the MACD for the 4 hour with a bullish cross on the stochastic, bullish divergence on the RSI, and candles. We are slightly bearishly engulfing though on the 4 hour candle. Bulls losing momentum on the MACD for the 1 hour with a bearish cross on the stochastic, neutral on the RSI. And some pretty heavy consolidation going on here on the candles. Yeah, looking a bit more bearish than bullish. If we pull back to the 236 fib level, the top of right here, could be a potential support zone, but if it does pull back a bit further, ideally I'd like to see around probably 1780 hold for support, so we just form some higher lows and it'll still be looking alright at that point as long as we don't break that. Alright, so let's take a look at silver and see how that's doing. Bears gaining momentum on the MACD for 2 weeks in a row now. This is the first bit of bearish momentum that we've seen since January of this year. Bearish cross on the stochastic, bearish control zone on the RSI, and 3 weeks straight of bearish engulfing candles. For silver, I would really like to see the double bottom that we had formed hold here, and if we hold this level, that'll be looking very nice at that point. So about $21.49 USD. Bears losing momentum on the MACD for the daily with a bullish cross on the stochastic. We are quite oversold on the RSI for the daily, which is nice to see, especially with how we're just at support right here and really attempting to hold this double bottom. Bulls gaining momentum on the MACD for the 4 hour with a bullish cross on the stochastic. 4 hour bullish divergence, which is another sign that we may hold the support in the double bottom here. 1 hour, bears attempting to gain a bit of momentum with the stochastic coiling up pretty heavily. Neutral on the RSI, and just some real heavy consolidation on these 1 hour candles. Definitely possible we see some further pullback, but if the bullish divergence plays out and we hold this double bottom, it will be looking quite nice at this point. I really would like to see this double bottom hold for silver to keep looking nice. Alright, so let's take a look at the Dow Jones and see how that's looking tonight. Bears gaining momentum on the MACD for the weekly, very clear bearish cross on the stochastic, bearish control zone on the RSI, and so far we're just really consolidating this week. Been about 5 weeks of bearish price action. Bears losing momentum on the MACD for the daily, bullish cross on the stochastic, bearish control zone on the RSI. And now we're just really consolidating while the market decides what it wants to do next. Bulls gaining momentum on the MACD for the 4 hour with a bullish cross on the stochastic. We do have some 4 hour bullish divergence though. And now we're just consolidating pretty heavily on the 4 hour candles. Bulls losing momentum on the MACD for the 1 hour, stochastics coiled up heavily. Neutral on the RSI. And yeah, really heavy consolidation on these hourly candles. Looking more bearish than bullish currently, especially if we're going by the weekly. But if the bullish divergence can make it hold and we don't break the 236 fib level, could be looking quite nice at that point, but for now it is looking more bearish than bullish to me. And let's see the S&P 500 and see how that's looking tonight. Bears gaining momentum on the MACD for the weekly with a bearish cross on the stochastic. Bearish control zone on the RSI. And heavy consolidation going on. We've got about a month straight worth of candles here that were bearish, and now we're just consolidating while the market decides what to do next. Bears losing momentum on the MACD for the daily, which is nice to see with a bullish cross on the stochastic. Daily bullish divergence, which is very significant. And consolidation on the candles. Bulls gaining momentum on the MACD for the 4 hour with a bullish cross on the stochastic. 4 hour bullish divergence. Neutral zone on the RSI and quite a bit of consolidation. Bulls losing momentum on the MACD for the 1 hour, stochastics coiled up pretty heavily. Very slightly in the bullish control zone on the RSI, and a lot of consolidation going on the candles here. So same thing as Dow Jones, looking more bearish than bullish currently based off the weekly. If the bullish divergence on the daily plays out though, possible we could find a bottom here, but I'm going to be quite cautious until I see the weekly begin to turn around. Alright, now for the NASDAQ. Bears gaining momentum on the MACD for the weekly with a bearish cross on the stochastic. Bearish control zone on the RSI. And it's pretty heavy consolidation going on this week after about a month of pullback. And the MACD is also flattening out for this week. Bears losing momentum on the MACD for the daily with a bullish cross on the stochastic. Bearish control zone for now still on the RSI, and some pretty heavy consolidation on the daily candles. 4 hour bulls losing slight momentum on this candle. Bullish cross on the stochastic though, which is what I want to be seeing. Bullish divergence on the candles in the 4 hour RSI, which is nice to see. And so far we're just consolidating above the fib level, so if we could form support over the fib level, the NASDAQ will start to be looking nicer. Bears attempting to gain a little momentum on the MACD for the 1 hour with the stochastic coiling up heavily, neutral on the RSI, and heavy consolidation on the candles, but I'm really liking the way that's consolidating above the fib level for now. Anything you guys want me to check out for you tonight? Alright, so for Tesla, bears gaining some momentum on the MACD for the weekly with a bearish cross on the stochastic, neutral zone on the RSI, and liking the looks of the consolidation on this weekly candle. Bears losing momentum on the MACD for the daily with a bullish cross on the stochastic, bearish control zone on the RSI, and attempting to bullishly engulf on the daily candle. Bulls gaining some slight momentum on the MACD for the 4 hour with a bullish cross on the stochastic. Very, very slightly in the bearish control zone for the RSI. Looks like it is attempting to get into the neutral zone. And just consolidating on the 4 hour candles here. We were just slightly oversold on the RSI. Well, actually, it was a pretty big pullback, so we were oversold. Stochastic's coiling up, but we are close to the 80 zone. Bulls losing momentum on the MACD. And now we're just consolidating on the candles here. Yeah, Tesla's looking kind of choppy. Don't see any clear signs on what's going to happen next on this asset. It's kind of just looking turbulent. Likely going to have a big effect based on what happens with the US stock indexes. If we see the indexes begin to turn back around, Tesla will probably begin to run again. And if the stock indexes continues to pull back further, I wouldn't be surprised if Tesla pulls back further as well. Well, if there's nothing else that you guys want to see tonight, I'll probably check out another asset or two and then call it a night. Alright, so for Amazon, bears gaining momentum on the MACD for the weekly with a bearish cross on the stochastic. Bearish control zone on the RSI, pretty close to oversold. I do like the way that we're just wicking off of the 382 fib level here. Bears gaining momentum on the MACD for the daily with a bearish cross on the stochastic. Very, very slightly oversold on the RSI. For Amazon to look nice, well, yeah, tempted to get back above the fib level here a few days ago. And then to start the week off, we just got a real heavy pullback here. Or actually, that would be the 29th of April. So that would have been Friday, the end of last week, where we had this big pullback here. Now it's attempting to form support, but yeah, I don't really like the way how it attempted to get back up above the 236, and then it just dumped straight down to the next fib level. Bears losing momentum on the MACD for the 4 hour with a bullish cross on the stochastic. We were just oversold on the RSI, now we're just hugging the oversold zone. And quite a lot of consolidation on the candles for the 4 hour. Bulls gaining some momentum on the MACD for the 1 hour. Stochastics coiled up pretty heavily. A tiny bit of bullish divergence on the 1 hour and some heavy consolidation on the 1 hour candles. I will check out one more asset and then I'll call it a night here. Netflix is not looking nice. That actually looks like we have a weekly bear flag currently. We are quite oversold on the RSI currently, so the RSI is looking at least alright. But the MACD shows bears gaining momentum, and this looks like we got a bear flag happening here. Stochastic's coiling up pretty heavily though, so we'll likely see some form of large move coming soon. Typically when we're below the 20 zone on the stochastic, it's more likely to cross bullish than bearish. The candles though, bear flag and attempting to form resistance at the fib level currently. Actually, I don't believe that's actually the fib level. Bears losing momentum on the MACD for the daily, stochastic coiling up heavily, oversold on the RSI and extreme consolidation on the daily candles. Bulls gaining momentum on the MACD for the 4 hour, oversold on the RSI. Pretty heavy consolidation on the 4 hour candles as well. And 1 hour. We were just oversold, now we're neutral on the RSI. Bearish cross on the stochastic though, with the bulls losing momentum on the MACD. And very heavy consolidation on the candles. So just based off the larger time frames, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if we potentially see an even further pullback on Netflix, which this has already been a very, very crazy pullback on this asset. From the peaks of around 700 USD, I believe it was. Yeah, we're already down to 200. So once we're below the 618, I'll typically begin to accumulate an asset that I'm bullish on, and if we get to the 786, I'll pick up some heavier bags. So we're pretty close to the 786. So if we see the 786 on this asset, there's a pretty nice chance I'll begin to accumulate Netflix at that point. Yeah, it definitely looks more bearish than bullish currently. We are quite oversold though, so maybe this could start to turn it around a little bit, but if we do get down to the 786 level, which I think is a very nice possibility, I'm likely going to begin to start to dollar cost average into Netflix. Alright, well I hope you all have a great evening tonight, and I'll talk to you all tomorrow.
Let me take a step back. Let me take a step back. Let me take a step. Let me take a step back.